If statements, for loops, and while loops were very important for us in MATLAB, and surprisingly, they're not going to be nearly as important for us in Mathematica, but it's still natural to want to know how do you make these constructs in Mathematica, and let me show you. So the most important of them, as far as how I teach Mathematica, is the if statement. So let me start with if. And now what comes here is a test. So let me name a variable. Okay, I'll do it on the same line. Let's say a is equal to 10. And then I can say if a is less than 15. And now this is what's called a test. And if that test is true, then Mathematica is going to output whatever I put next. So let's put the word high. So it's evaluating right now. Okay, it set a equal to 10, evaluated this test. It was true, so it output high. What if I made a test that was false? What would happen then? Okay, well, there's no output in this case. What if I wanted to have an output? Okay, then I can put another comma and put, this is what's called the false condition. What should I output if the test is false? So that is how the if statement works. What if I want to have some else if style statements? Well, you do that with a completely different word in Mathematica. You do it with the word which. And so let me show you how this works. So first comes a test, just like for the if statement. Then comes the output value if that test is true. Okay, so these first two, it's the exact same as for an if statement. And then the difference is instead of having a default false value, instead I put another test. Okay, like what I'd put for an else if. Okay, so let me show this. So, oops, wrong thing. So which, let's say, if a is less than 5, output high. If a is less than 15, output hello. If a is less than 25, output hey. And if a is less than 35, output hello there. And let's see what happens for this. And so this was the output. And that brings up an important point about which statements. Even if multiple tests return true, for example, this one returned true, 10 is less than 15, and this one also returned true, 10 is less than 25, only the first output gets output. The others just get skipped. And the which statement finishes as soon as it finds the first of the tests in the consecutive order that returns true. So this is pretty much perfect. What if you want to have an else condition at the end? Like, what if you want to have some default value where all of these things are false? What's one way to do that? Well, here's a nice way. Just write the word true and then put whatever your output value should be in this case. Okay, let's put by. Okay, so I can go up here and change a. Let's change it to a 100. And this is a difference between Mathematica and MATLAB, that I can go up to a previous cell and change the value. And so right now nothing's changed because I didn't evaluate the cell up here, but let's evaluate it. Okay, the output number changed from 6 to 11, I think. And now if I evaluate this one, currently it's input 9. Okay, now it's input 12. Okay, coming after output 11. And now you see that because all of my first conditions were false, it's returning this last condition here. Okay, because this one always automatically returns true, just by how I wrote it. And there's nothing special about these words that I'm writing down, so I could have a number if I wanted. So, for example, let's have 314. Okay, it doesn't change anything here. But if I make, let's say down here, a is equal to 12. Okay, now this number, 314, gets output. So I'd say the if statement and the which statement, these are more important for how I'm going to teach the Mathematica portion of Math 9 than the next two I'm going to cover. But let me just quickly show you what's an analog of a for loop and what's an analog of a while loop. So analog of a for loop is what's called a do loop. And so syntax is very similar to table. There's an expression and then there's some sort of iterator afterwards. So let's say print hi. Okay, and let's do that 7 times. Okay, or let's say I from 1 to 7 going up by, let's say 1 to 7, 27 going up by 4. And instead of printing hi, let's print I. And instead of printing the string I, let's print the expression I. So I, this is an iterator. This is the first type of iterator. I is 1, then 5, then 9. Never go past 27. So 25, that's fine. The next one would have been 29, but that's past 27. So we stop there. Okay, so that's an analog of a for loop, is this thing called a do loop. What do you want to do? And then this is telling it how many times should it be done. Analog of a while loop. Okay, it's the same word, while. And the syntax is a little different from do loop. So first we put a test. And then if that test is true, we evaluate whatever is here in body. And then we keep repeating until the test returns false. So let's say, let's define b to equal 1. And let's say while b is less than 10, comma, b equals b plus 1. And so maybe it seems like nothing happened, but what happens if I evaluate b now? Oh, so I see. Nothing did happen. Why is that? I was thinking these two were in the same cell, but they were in different cells. So now I've evaluated b. It's 1. Okay, it still looks like nothing happened. But now if I evaluate b, it's 10.